We are counting down the 8 luxury brands that shoppers are abandoning in record numbers. From once coveted names now slashing prices by 40%, to industry legends facing leadership chaos and desperate fire sales, these brands expose how quickly prestige can collapse. Which brand's decline signals the start of the luxury meltdown? Let us begin with number 8. Kate Spade's sales dropped 10% in the second quarter of 2025. Stuart Weitzman fell even further, down 15% in the same period and 18% the previous fall. By August 2025, Tapestry had given up and sold Stuart Weitzman entirely, cutting its losses. Instead of appointing a new creative director, Kate Spade brought in an interim design collective, a rare move that left the brand without a clear vision. Both brands ended up stranded between mass market and true luxury, unable to compete on price or on prestige. Their struggles foreshadowed deeper problems spreading through the entire luxury sector. Versace's downfall reads like a masterclass in value destruction. Capri Holdings bought the brand for $2.12 billion, only to offload it to Prada for $1.4 billion 7 years later. That was a staggering $720 million loss. In the second quarter of 2024, Versace's revenue nosedived by 28.2%. By the end of the year, quarterly sales had shrunk another 21.2%, barely scraping $208 million. The pain hit hardest in the Americas, where business tumbled 21%. Chasing wealthier customers backfired, leaving shelves full and loyal buyers gone. Even a name as famous as Versace could not escape the luxury market's brutal new reality. Saint Laurent slipped quietly into decline while headlines chased bigger collapses. Revenue fell 9% in 2024, then dropped another 9% in the first quarter of 2025, pulling annual sales down to $1.4 billion. The brand's wholesale business shrank as partners cut orders, and retail softened across every region. In November 2024, a new chief executive officer stepped in, tasked with reversing the downturn. But the rock and roll luxury formula that once set Saint Laurent apart now felt dated. As costs stayed fixed and sales kept shrinking, margins narrowed, and the brand's slow erosion continued mostly out of the spotlight. Number 5. Michael Kors, the death spiral. Michael Kors tried to play the luxury game by raising prices fast, but the gamble backfired. Over 5 years, revenue plunged 25%. In the third quarter of 2025, sales dropped 12.1% to $909 million, with Asia taking a brutal 27% hit. The brand's chief executive officer admitted they had to chase customers with promotions just to move product. That strategy came with a heavy cost, a $602 million impairment charge in a single quarter. Now, 100 stores are set to close, shrinking the retail footprint from 750 to 650 locations. With Michael Kors representing 70% of Capri Holdings' sales, the damage rippled out. Capri ended fiscal 2025 with a $1.2 billion net loss. Burberry, once a symbol of British prestige, suffered a humiliating blow when it was dropped from the FTSE 100 after 15 years. In fiscal year 2025, revenue plunged 17%, leaving the company with an operating loss of £3 million. The first quarter was even more punishing, with retail sales down 22%, one of the worst quarters in its history. The pain cut across the globe. China fell 21%, South Korea 26%, and the Americas 23%. With a fourth chief executive officer appointed in just 10 years, leadership churn fueled investor anxiety. To conserve cash, Burberry suspended its dividend and announced plans to cut 1,700 Jews, nearly 1/5 of its workforce. What had once been a national icon now faced rumors of a takeover, its reputation and future hanging by a thread. Gucci's collapse sent shockwaves through the luxury world. In the first quarter of 2025, sales crashed 25%. wiping out nearly 2.5 billion euros in annual revenue and dropping the brand to 7.7 billion euros, far from its peak of more than 10 billion euros. Operating income for 2024 plunged 51%, a staggering blow for a house that once set the pace for the entire industry. Creative turnover only deepened the chaos. Sabato De Sarno was ousted after just 18 months, and his replacement, Demna, triggered a 12% stock drop that erased $3 billion in value overnight. Wholesale partners abandoned ship, cutting orders by 53% in late 2024. The pain was sharpest in Asia Pacific, down 24%, with North America falling 11%. For a brand that once defined modern luxury, the unraveling was swift and merciless. Kering Group's empire is unraveling. In 2024, group revenue fell 12%, dropping to 17.2 billion euros. And the slide accelerated with a 14% decline in the first quarter of 2025. The company's stock lost half its value over the past year, wiping out billions in shareholder wealth. Retail sales dropped 13%, wholesale collapsed by 22%, and every major house except Bottega Veneta reported double-digit declines. Now, Kering is preparing to shutter stores across 1,813 locations worldwide, the first time in its history. CEO François-Henri Pinault faces open revolt from investors, and for the first time an outsider, Luca de Meo from the automotive world, has been brought in to attempt a rescue. The failures of Gucci, Saint Laurent, and others have rippled upward, threatening the entire corporate structure. 50 million luxury shoppers have disappeared in just 2 years. Brands that once relied on endless price hikes, raising tags by over 80% between 2021 and 2023, now face empty stores and stagnant demand. Only 1/3 of luxury brands are still growing. Gen Z walked away from flashy logos, fueling a resale boom and leaving the old luxury playbook in ruins. Industry growth is projected at just 1 to 3% through 2027, a far cry from the double-digit surges of the past. Across all 8 entries, one truth emerges: luxury collapses when brands lose authenticity. Today, price hikes and lost identity drive even icons into decline. Status means nothing without substance.